Hi there, lovings. I think I would just have to talk to you because you have been kind of pressuring me to change this world into a paradise as an order from your mind. Things are not that simple, okay? Otherwise, Buddha would have done that. Jesus would have done that. And there would be no need for me to try all my best to change people. You see, before coming into this world, or whatever world, the souls have aspired to become more perfect, greater. Somehow, because this is something newly created by Maya and the team. Like the fallen angel, for example, he likes to go against God to prove that he is better. Now, after creating this world, he invited the souls to come down, promising them that they will be greater than what they have been. And the souls, our souls are innocent. Then wanted to prove that they can be better or something new, like an adventure. So they volunteered to come down. And of course, if you want to be greater, you have to go through tests and examinations. Remember the story about Lord Mahavira when he was still practicing his meditation to get more enlightened? One of the gods in heaven praised him, saying, "Oh, Lord Mahavira is this and that and others, so superb, so wonderful, so courageous, just so exceptional." You know, he liked Lord Mahavira very much. And then one of his subordinates on the side said to the god, "Oh, we're not sure about this. Don't praise him too much and too early. Allow me to go down to test him. Otherwise, I don't have as much respect for him as you do. I have to prove it to myself before I can praise him or accept him." That God didn't say anything. So you see, this testing eager being in that heaven came down and manifested himself into all different kinds of terrible beings or situations to test Lord Mahavira. That was before Lord Mahavira became fully enlightened, and he still did not have enough power to even go against this diva or whatever you might call him. Definitely not a very gentle, benevolent being. You can see that. So Lord Mahavira had to endure a lot of physical suffering as well as a lot of discomfort, maybe psychological, or mental, or emotional. But nevertheless, Lord Mahavira overcame all of them. After 12 years of all kinds of trials and tribulations from this ignoramus subordinate of a small god or some heavens, some kind of heaven god, then he attained total enlightenment. Can you imagine how much suffering he had to go through in all those 12 years? And we only heard some of it through some record, probably by someone who was maybe one of his disciples or maybe some of the devas in heaven who witnessed everything, who used to want to protect Lord Mahavira and knew all that. And then probably the deva manifested himself into a human form, became his disciple or his companion, and wrote it all down. Perhaps Lord Mahavira told people about it, some of it, and some of them maybe recorded it in writing. So we fortunately could know something about Lord Mahavira's practicing time of trial and testing. So now we heard, we know that all souls have a spark of God inside, are made in the image of God, and God dwells within them even. So you wonder why the souls could be deluded by Maya in order to do this and that, all kinds of things in the world, and let themselves be tested. vigorously, cruelly even sometimes. Because the souls want to be something greater than just being a soul, enjoying bliss and happiness given by God, by His love. So now the similar thing is happening in our world. On this planet, there are many souls who undergo a lot of pain and suffering. It's because of that. Because they want to be great, perhaps, but they have no experience to deal with the delusional world and the Maya's test. So they fail, or maybe they wanted to fall to see how it goes. And knowing that in this physical world, the Maya would punish any souls who don't stick to moral and virtuous standards. The souls will go along with it willingly until one day they have had enough of it and awaken. Then they long to go home. Whether or not they have been greater than before or just as they were, they want to go home. They have had enough with all these tribulations and trials. Thus, many masters came and went. They still do not listen and go home. So the master's talks or reasonings or logic will appeal only to those who are ready, who endure the most suffering and are full of pain and sorrow in this physical existence. Then they will be willing to come home, following the master's footsteps and or instructions. There are also those who are saintly by nature already been trained and tried in many long lifetimes before. Then they will be ready to follow the master. What the master spoke, what the master told and explained, they understood immediately. There's no question in their mind. So they trust the master at once and follow whatever the master wants to tell them and teach them. These are the so-called good disciples. They progress fast, they are powerful, and they are very useful and helpful to humankind. Not a lot of them though, because any master who came down can only take some of his so-called right hand. Those who followed him before or followed her before have already been trained, already been tested, already been purified. They came down purposely to support the master's mission. These are already kind of saints and sages, or have studied with the master, been disciples many lifetimes before, already liberated, but came down to earth on purpose, just to support their master. Because without a physical connection to this world, they could not help much. The most effective way to help humankind or any beings on this planet is that you have to be there with them in the physical domain and do all kinds of physical things the way beings on this planet do. Also, in order to understand their suffering, okay? Because if they're not suffering together with the humans, then it's very difficult for them to understand human suffering and pain. It's easy to say, okay, you can look and you see, but how many people can you look at? How much suffering can you see? It's not like you can go to all the houses and check out who's suffering, who's not, and what's the number of suffering beings. Because if you don't see it, you don't experience it yourself, it's very difficult to know. It's like a rich man, it's difficult for him to understand the difficulty and the hardship of the homeless person on the street, in winter even, without food, without drink, without sufficient clothing, and without a place to protect himself from the elements. That's why most people, even though they want to do good, they just say, oh, I do good, I love animals. They eat the animal people, not thinking twice. They say, oh, I love people, I like to help poor people. But how many of them really go out of their way to help poor people? Or to give food to the food bank even? Or to give a homeless person a shelter, even as simple as his garden shed or maybe a garage? You see, it's so easy to say it, but difficult to understand. Just like when they were in heaven, they promised God that they can do anything, to help humans. They will be good, they will be kind, they will be benevolent, all this and that and others. But when they came down to earth, facing situations like other humans have to face daily, then they would not always use the right judgment. They would not be able to react in a righteous way or in a correct way. Because before they go down to this physical domain, they have to take on this instrument called the mind. Yeah, and then when they are in the physical body, they have to take another called the brain, which no one needs in the higher levels. See, when you go down all the way, just say maybe from the 4th or the 5th level, you have to go through the 3rd level, the Brahman level, okay? And after that, you have to go through the destructive and constructive level, which is the 2nd level. And then there you get the mind. The mind is equipped with some elementary kind of knowledge and experience of how to deal with this and that situation. But in the world, there are thousands of things to experience and to go through. So the mind cannot always supply all the answers. And thus the brain has to supply some answers to some situations for the humans to deal with different circumstances. And the same with the people who came down from the higher level. They might be also perplexed and confused for some time until they probably met a master, another master again, or the reincarnated master who imparted to them the enlightening method, like the Guanyin method of the inner heavenly light and inner heavenly melody, meaning the direct teaching of God. Then they will be awakened, enlightened, and they can deal with situations better because they are more enlightened. They have more wisdom, not just worldly knowledge from school, but they have access to the innate wisdom which is inherent in all of us. And now, in this world, there are two sides. We all know that, the positive side and the negative side. So some humans choose to follow the negative because it seems to be very accessible, easy, and you can see the result right away. You can decide to do things which are not godly or heavenly, but it would give them some thrill, some kick temporarily and quickly. So they would follow this type of lifestyle. Like people, sometimes they are feeling bored or depressed, and then they go out and they grab some animal people meet in the bar, and then they drink some alcohol with it, and they feel the effect right away. Like they feel like they are less depressed and they're happier and things like that, until this effect wears out and they become even more miserable. And the physical side effect also will bite them. They will get more sickness and even more depression, and they'll have to spend more time in hospital, and all kinds of things will affect them and affect their business because they can't think straight due to alcohol and too much animal people meat and the poison from the meat and from the alcohol. And they become less and less intelligent, so they might not do business very well. They also might not treat their family as well as they want to. Thus, family discord will be evident, will be created, and the family breaks up. Also, the broken family will have a great bad effect on the children and the society at large by the consequence of it, because we will have less intelligent people and less happy children, etc. And you can look around our world and you see how messy our world is. It's because people don't give themselves the correct physical fuel for their body, which is like a car. If you give it good fuel, then it runs better and it runs longer. Similar to our body. Alcohol and animal people meat or drugs and wrong stuff that's put into your body, they make your brain, your mind confused. It becomes like a hybrid, so you can't control it. And it will just give you all kinds of false information, and you cannot think correctly and rightly, and thus you keep doing things wrong. And the more wrong you do, the more wrong results will come out. But people have been so deep inside of this kind of trap, so they cannot even realize that they are doing wrong and getting the wrong outcome. Thus, our world is such a misery. Now, there are two sides in this world just to test the newly come souls. If they want to become great, they have to go through some tests. So the Maya is the one who will test them, give them all kinds of traps, all kinds of temptations, so that they will fall easily. Some people like a quick kick, and also being influenced by the negative force. They will not want to think of God or believe in God, because the negative force will promise to give them this and that, and sometimes they do quickly. And thus you can see that some people even go to learn black magic, witchcraft, so that they can obtain what they want through the magical effect. But they don't know that they have to pay very dearly for that afterwards, whether they use it from the astral sphere or they use it from this karma gap force, which is stronger than from the astral. There is even magic from the Brahman realm as well. This is very, very powerful. Even the disciples of Buddha can fall, like the example of Anand, the Buddha's closest associated disciple, being with him every day, going anywhere the Buddha goes and listening to all the lectures of the Buddhas, and still fell because he was in the grip of this courtesan who was beautiful, and she was using this Brahman magic power to entice him to her bedroom, and he almost succumbed to her clutches. But luckily, he was a monk for a long time, and he still remembered his master, the Buddha, so he called the Buddha to rescue him, to save him. And then Sakyamuni Buddha sent another disciple to go there and recite some mantras to help him. And then he ran back to the Buddha with the girl, the courtesan girl, running after him. And then when she came in front of the Buddha, she complained, how come the Buddha took away her love, etc. I have told this story before. But finally, it's a happy ending. The girl also followed the Buddha and became an ardent disciple. Then she resolved to compete with Anand to see who would attain the most wisdom in a shorter time. That was a long story made short. Now, as I told you, some of the persons I know, the demons used a wife of one of my very good and very innocent soccer disciples, an old man of 80-something even. And that she follows the demons instead of following God. Because when you follow those demons and you learn something from them, you can attain some results, and that makes your ego feel good and feel safe in a false way. And you have to continue doing it, otherwise they will take away your power. They will give you nothing, and they will punish you severely as well. Even you might be successful in some cases, but still the karma, you cannot use the magic to erase. Sooner or later, you will be punished in hell. That we have talked about already. And now, to follow, why does she want to kill her husband and ruin her sons? Not because she likes them. She was with her husband also because of security reasons. He's a good man and he loves her head over heels. Still does. And when she met him, he was a source of security. He already had something with him. And he's a sure way for her lifelong safety and security. I mean, physically. And then why does she also ruin her two sons? Because she had to promise something to the devils, the demons, before they accept her and give her some power. You have to kill whoever they want you to. She had to make a vow, like she will ruin her sons and whoever comes into the life of her sons. And if her husband seems to like someone else, especially in a spiritual way, then she has to kill him or ruin them or try to curse them. This is so that they will never be happy anywhere except with her, by her side. They will be almost like zombies. Luckily, when the husband followed me, she didn't use all that yet, because I was still the younger time. So after he practiced and followed my teaching, which is the teaching of all the masters in ancient times up to now anyway, then he became stronger already. So he is protected. And of course, God gave me some way to protect him. He is a good devotee of God. And he believed in me completely. Now, as you see, if you follow the devils, they will demand of you all kinds of things. You could even kill anybody, anytime if they want you to. And you can ruin your whole family, kill your whole family if they demand it that way. You had to make all these vows before they accept you. Oh, this is a terrifying world we're living in. Actually, it is like that. And now I just remembered that one of the so-called religious groups, the Shia, it sounds like Jesus, which the so-called P. Francis now in the Vatican belongs to. They vow to tear people apart, to smash their heads, children's heads, babies in the womb and all that, to kill them, to show that they are faithful to their group. It is official. We have shown that on our Supreme Master TV some time ago.
Jesuit extreme oath of induction. I do furthermore promise and declare that I will, when opportunity presents, make and wage relentless war secretly or openly against all heretics, Protestants and liberals, as I am directed to extirpate them from the face of the earth, and that I will spare neither age, sex or condition, and that I will hang, burn, waste, boil, flay, strangle and bury alive those infamous heretics, rip up the stomachs and wombs of the women, and crush their infants' heads against the walls in order to annihilate their inexorable race. That when the same cannot be done openly, I will secretly use the poisoned cup, the strangulating cords, the steels of the poniard, or the leaden bullets, regardless of the honor, rank, dignity, or authority of the persons, whatever may be their condition in life, either public or private, as I at any time may be directed to by any agent of the Pope or the Superior of the Holy Father of the Society of Jesus.
They are horrible, terrible, so wicked, so devilish kind of vows. I don't know how any government even allowed that to be openly declared and openly recorded. Just like those people who worship Satan, they kill babies to make offerings.
You have spoken very clearly saying abortion is a satanic ritual. Can you speak more to that? Because our culture equates abortion with healthcare.
Yes, it's another one of the smoke screens they use, the smoke screen of choice, the smoke screen of healthcare, of reproductive choice, and so forth. The Texas heartbeat law is being challenged by the Satanic Temple precisely on the grounds of it's a violation of their religious liberty. They need to have access to abortion to carry out their rituals. It's a satanic practice. And when we figure that, 1 out of 4 pregnancies in our country ends in an abortion, we're literally in the grip of the devil.
One group now challenging the law, the Satanic Temple.
Yeah, the group argues its members should be exempt from the abortion ban.
The group's lawyers also sent a letter to the Food and Drug Administration last week demanding members have access to abortion pills, which they say members use, quote, in a sacramental setting.
An international group named after Satan will soon open its first abortion business in the United States.
Now we are blaming Islam or the Muslims for being terrorists and all that. But they do that when they are provoked. But they don't have such terrible, devilish vows like those in this Jesuit group of fanatics. And even one of them became the Pope in the Vatican. Can you believe that? And all the Catholics and the Christians still let him be. Thus, the rotten way by them will continue to spread and ruin our world's godly virtues, morals, and stability. Plus, continue to risk our children's and people's safety, dignity, and faith in God. The effect is worse than we can calculate. And all their priests are raping children, babies, women, and men, and all openly, all with record, and nobody does anything. Still blindly follow the Catholic Church. Catholicism is good, but the one who occupies the head of Catholicism is bad already. It's from that kind of devilish tendency. So how many people they harm in the dark, we don't even know. Not to talk about raping babies, children, men and women at random any time like that. And so many tens of thousands of them ever since. We cannot have all the records, but the records are already a lot, not to talk about the non-recorded in the dark. Tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or more, we never know all of them, because the people don't dare to speak against them. Even one of them said, who would believe you? Don't tell anybody. Who would believe you? They would believe the priest like me, not you. You're nobody. So many people keep quiet and silent, or die of shame, or commit suicide. You know, we know all that nowadays because we have some records coming out, discovered, and some people confessed.
A group of historians from the University of Zurich investigating sexual abuse in the Catholic Church in Switzerland has uncovered more than 1,000 cases since the mid-20th century. Findings released on Tuesday include 1,002 cases of abuse of mainly minors by 510 alleged perpetrators and 921 victims. The study also concludes that there was a systematic cover-up of the abusers by the ecclesiastical hierarchies.
Die Mischung aus psychischer und religiöser Manipulation sowie spirituellem Missbrauch ist typisch für das Vorgehen von Tätern in kirchlichem Kontext. Die Verantwortung aller jener, welche die Täter geschützt und die Taten vertuscht haben, wiegt sehr, sehr schwer.
This is just the result of the first year of the investigation, which is expected to last another 3 years. Investigators say the figures now revealed may only be the tip of the iceberg, and there are many more cases to be uncovered. Sex abuse scandals have shaken the Catholic Church around the world. Etc.
Okay. So now, the one that tried to harm me was also because she listened to the devils, to the demons. She has to do what they request, because she was at one time ignorant enough to follow them. That's why I have tried to defend her and try to help her to get out of the trouble. And recently, she still tried another trick again and made me very uncomfortable for a while. But never mind, I will deal with that, and it's getting better. Yeah? Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. Just worry about that woman. She might not be able to be free from hell. And it makes me shiver thinking about what kind of, oh God, life she has to endure in that kind of hell. So if we follow God's teachings, everything we do according to God's commandments will be good for others and for us as well. You see, it's completely contrary to the vows that you have to make with the devils, like harming others, killing at random, or even ruin and have incestuous relationships with your sons or daughters, whoever, and kill your wife, your husband, anytime, like that. But by the way, don't worry, that husband is safe. he is still safe, alive. There are many other things that is not convenient to tell you. But you can see that when we follow God, then we have like the 10 commandments. Follow the Buddha's similar 5 commandments. Hinduism, any other good religions have these commandments, like you do not kill, you do not steal, you do not harm others, you do not take intoxicants, etc. These are all good for yourself and good for others around you and good for the world at large. But the demons are different. They can demand you to ruin your family, kill your friends, your wife, your husband even. What good is that, huh? And then you will go to hell anyway. Maybe you have a little kick that you have some power to do what you want to others, but all harmful things will come to you, including hell. But if you follow God's commandments, follow God's way of life, then you will do good to yourself, your family, your loved ones, and the society. As I told you before, if all of the people in Jesus' time up till now follow Jesus Christ's teachings, then we would have had peace long ago already. No need for me sitting here and talking about this. Everyone knows this already. They just don't remember it. I just have to remind you. And please do not just remember it, but practice it. I'm okay. This is not the worst thing, so don't worry. I'll deal with it, just little stuff. It's not like, okay, you get some power from the demons and then all your life will be fine and lucky, happy. And whoever you want to harm, you can do it and you see the effect. It's not like that. No. You will be a slave forever to this kind of demonic force and you can never get out. You will be a demon like them, even though you have a soul, even though you are human. You are born pure and you are born in the image of God. But if you are weak, you don't pass the test. And there are many tests in this world anyway, many tests. But Jesus and Moses, God's men have shown you the way. At least you keep these 10 commandments. Buddha has come. All the masters have come. You can tell there's no end. Some masters are not openly known, but they have also brought down with them the power to rescue humans and to show them the way to keep safe. Even if you don't want to go back to heaven, just keep the 5 commandments from the Buddha. Keep the 10 commandments from Christianity. Then you will be safe. You can be reborn again as a human. You don't have to go to hell. The precepts are your protection. They have the power of God embedded in them. And God has the intention that whoever keeps His commandments, that person will be protected. So if you don't want to follow me or any master, please keep the 5 commandments, including, most important, thou shalt not kill. But if you eat the meat of the animal people who are murdered for you, that is also a killing karma, even though you did not kill the animal people, because you eat animal people meat. Others have to kill for you. You have to share this karma as if you did the killing, maybe just a little less. And if you don't have enough merit or blessing from somewhere, from other life or this life, then you surely will go to hell. I'm sorry, I did not want to tell you this. I just have to, okay. And many of you, even you did not write me hard lines, but some wrote hard lines, almost like commanding me to change this word instantly using the power of God. I'm not endowed with the power to change this word instantly. No master can do that, but have to reason with the humans and awaken them again so that they listen to logic and follow God, remember God, worship God again, and do meditation to go close to God. The Kuan method is the one by which you can go direct to God and ask Him what you want. And it assures that you will go to heaven. Of course, if you practice the meditation instructed to you and also keep the precepts. I ask people to keep the 5 precepts. And that, of course, includes the vegan diet. And many of you, even you did not write me hard lines, but some wrote hard lines, almost like commanding me to change this word instantly using the power of God. I'm not endowed with the power to change this word instantly. No master can do that, but have to reason with the humans and awaken them again so that they listen to logic and follow God, remember God, worship God again, and do meditation to go close to God. The Kuan method is the one by which you can go direct to God and ask Him what you want. And it assures that you will go to heaven. Of course, if you practice the meditation instructed to you and also keep your precepts. I ask people to keep the 5 precepts. And that, of course, includes the vegan diet. Yeah? I'm telling you all that, even though it's ABC. But I remember when I was younger before, even though I really detested milk, when I grew up, I also didn't know why. Because even when I went to India to study with some teachers, I saw the cow people just walk around on the street or in the meadows. Nobody does anything to them. And the Indian people, they take the best diet, including this milk from the cow people. So I thought, okay, they just milk the cow, and the cow has a lot of milk anyway. One of her children could never take all that milk. So the humans share some of the milk. And I thought it was all right with me until I saw, even though I never liked milk, I never liked it, even when I was young. I always felt like, it's from the stomach of the animal people. I didn't know much about compassion or anything at that time. I thought it's from the stomach of the animal people. Oh, yuck, Yeah, like honey and all that, I never liked. Really. It's just when you see other people have it, they give it to you. You just taste it here and there. And maybe you feel okay at that time. But I never was really addicted to animal people products. It made me feel very uncomfortable. And I vomited sometimes, even thinking about it. Of course, this is all now, yeah. Sorry, I don't have any writing. I just have to remember what I want to tell you, so it doesn't go as orderly as I would like. Never mind. What else then? We talk about the path to God and the path to hell. We talk about that already, and now you understand why it's not like costless to follow a devil path. You have to give something, and that something is not very morally fit, and that something might make you feel very, very scared. But after a while, you get used to it, and you will become like the devils themselves. So be careful. Don't follow that kind of path, even though it might feel satisfactory for a few moments. It's just like alcohol or drugs. It will give you a bad effect, bad retribution afterward. And these devils, they will not give you anything for free. Not like the way of God that's been brought down to humankind by all masters since time immemorial. The way of God is always good for you, good for your family, your loved ones, and good for anyone else in the world. But the way of devils is always of harming, hurting, feeling, because they're sadistic. They don't know anything. That's their natural way of life. They don't know anything about benevolence or forgiveness. All they do is just harming. And if you follow them, you have to harm somebody. They make you vow to harm the dearest ones to you, like your sons, your husband, or your daughters, or whomever they want, in exchange for the power, so that you can harm any others whom you feel like they are your enemies. You have to even harm your own loved ones. That is not the way that we humans, the crown of the creation, want to live by. So now you understand why that woman, though I never done anything to harm her, because of her jealousy, she would listen to the demons to try to harm me. And because of having this power, she had to pay dearly, like she could kill her husband and already ruin the life of the two boys that are her sons. Not because she really needs them or likes them or loves them that much or anything. It's just the vow she made, she has to fulfill, to reassure the demons that she really, really follows them and really is subdued by their power and really can be trusted to join them to do horrible stuff to humans or even dogs or cats or cows, people. You heard sometimes suddenly the good dog who has been very harmonious, peaceful all his life suddenly kills that person or that child for no reason at all, not provoked even. Suddenly he just jumps on them and bites them.
A North Texas woman is attacked while on a dog-sitting job in Coppell.
The dogs, in the instant after she opened the door, were not like the lovely dogs Jacqueline said she had met once before. When the dogs rushed her, the door was left open, and that triggered a security alarm at the home of Justin and Ashley Bishop.
Have you had any problems with dogs?
Zero. I have 3 kids, one's 3 years old. No history of violence, none.
These are the same dogs who you had met a week earlier that you said were lovely. Yeah. Lovely one week and killers the next. How do you square the two?
Honestly, I'm speechless. They don't change their attitude from the time that I eat them to the time that I go there for the first time.
That is because the demons are behind that dog. Or one of the neighbors could be a witch and doesn't like that dog. And then she will do some witchcraft trick. And finally, at the end, the dog cannot withstand it. He's just a dog. He's just a dog. Even humans cannot withstand it, not to talk about little animals, helpless. And even been fed animal people meat all his life. Not that he likes it. Oh dear, this world. So many things have been done already. But the humans want to go through too many trials and tribulations in order to become greater, like maybe to become higher divas or gods in the kingdom, or later can be an assistant of a master or become a master in trillions of years, who knows. Imagine, do you remember the many stories I told you about the Buddha's past lives, or many things that I have not even told you yet? But the Buddha has become Buddha long eons ago already. But he came down to the human world in order to help this and that person, this and that country, and had to endure all kinds of things. He had to do all kinds of things in order to take the karmas of the humans. But there's one good thing about this. The Buddha was praised as being the world savior. Jesus Christ and many other great masters have also been praised as world saviors, but we don't see what they did. They came with blessing, lifting the world up to some degree. That's why our world became more civilized, more comfortable, with many more new inventions that help us to live more comfortably. But because of that, we forget to thank God and thank the Master, and we use them to do more harm because of greed, because of disrespect for the blessing of the saints that have been manifested through many more comfortable means for our lives. We think, oh, we are clever, we are good, so we can invent this, invent that, and then finally invented the atom bomb and harm so many. The effect is still lasting many generations now. The poor Japanese generations after the bomb still suffer so much. The same with Agent Orange in Vietnam. Children born nowadays still suffer from so many horrible effects that disfigure them, that make their life hell.
Science is still learning from the survivors of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings.
The scientists who designed the first atomic weapons did not spend much time researching the long-term health consequences of their devastating creation. Joint Japanese and U.S. study has been following the survivors of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki for nearly 70 years. Researchers here have published hundreds of papers documenting the links between radiation and its ill health effects, primarily cancer. Among the findings over the years, thyroid cancer and leukemia are the first to strike. Solid cancers come 10 to 30 years later. A single exposure increases cancer risk for life.
Herbicide that the United States military used during the Vietnam War, and one that's been tied to serious health problems for the people exposed to it. The answer is Agent Orange. Veterans returning from Vietnam started reporting these health problems in increasing numbers: cancer, birth defects, miscarriages, and skin diseases, among other issues. Over 2.5 million U.S. soldiers were exposed to Agent Orange during the war. And let's not forget about the Vietnamese. Researchers in Vietnam claim that some 2 million cancers and other diseases and 500,000 birth defects were caused in that country by exposure to Agent Orange. And despite some bilateral cleanup efforts, the chemicals continue to pollute the soil there to this day. The fighting in Vietnam may be long over, but its legacy haunts both sides of the conflict, thanks in part to Agent Orange.
You see, so it's easy to say, oh, I want to become a master, I want to become a saint, so I come down and do everything so that I will be greater in heavens. It's easy to say that. But the Maya will not let you be. The Maya will invent even more and more horrible traps, horrible temptations, and alluring poisons to just keep you almost like forever in the physical domain and suffering. Some might not ever get out. Yeah, but the soul have a connection with God anyway, so sooner or later they will wake up. After they suffer too much life after life, then they will wake up. Life after life, they'll endure all kinds of hardship, pain, sorrow, and disgrace or disappointment, and hell. Then one day they will just had enough. They will pray for liberation, truly from their heart. They will give anything. They would forsake all lowly desire and just desire to go back home. And at that time, they will have the fortune to meet a master who will take them home. Why do we need a master to take us home? Because the master is the one who knows the way. They traveled this way to come down, to take you back home. They know what to do. It's the guide, you see, heavenward. Just like in this world, sometimes you want to go visit some area which you have never been to before. You hire a guide, or you go in a group, and there's a guide who will show you everything, maybe in a museum or in an area of the river or some cities, sightseeing. Yeah, you need that guide. To go alone, it takes so much trouble. Maybe you get lost. And you might be in danger also because you might be in some notoriously bad areas and be attacked, The tourists would be attacked by robbers or whatever, okay? Or be in some dangerous area that you don't know what it is. Just say recently even, like the Russian soldiers, they didn't know the very dangerous area in Chernobyl or something which used to be a nuclear area before, and they dug trenches to keep themselves safe there. And then they all became very ill because that place is laden with nuclear radiation. And it's still there. It's too strong. So all of them got sick and had to move out. The personnel who still worked in that area, in that factory before, they knew that place was not good. But the Russian soldiers, they did not listen. So they all fell ill. I wonder if they're still alive or dead or maybe seriously wounded, inside out and could not function anymore. Living like a vegetable, Yes. So this world is full of dangers. And the way to heaven, you have to go through some kind of devilish area. And if you don't know the way, you will be caught by them or entrapped by them or enslaved by them. And you won't be able to get out. That's why you need a master to teach you how to protect yourself. That's the thing. My initiates have been taught how to protect themselves as well. Not just every day they have to always call a master to protect them. The master will come only when you really cannot protect yourself in some situation. The master would come anyway without you even asking, because the master has numerous manifestation bodies that would be with you 24/7. And you yourself, as a disciple, have to keep doing your work also, your homework, like you have to meditate, how long a day, and you have to keep the purity of your soul, your mind, and your body by adhering to the vegan diet, not harming any beings. Not just a diet, but then you have to help If animal people come into your house, you don't beat them. You gently, lead them out of your house. Even insects, you trap them in a box or something, and then you free them outside. The vegan way of life. Also, you talk nicely to people, you bless people, and you help whoever needs help, if you can, if you know about it. You see, it's not just eating the vegetables. And nowadays, we have a lot of products that made, they look even like the animal people and the fish people, meat that you've been craving for, and it tastes very satisfactory to you. And you need nothing. You don't want any animal people meat, and you don't take alcohol and all that. All this belongs to a vegan diet of a spiritual practitioner. And you don't steal things from people. For example, we talked about this before already, so I don't want to keep telling you again. And now you, the so-called initiate, the one who have faith in my power, now you understand. Humans have God inside and the free will given to them. They have to choose. And now you, the so-called initiate, the one who have faith in my power, now you understand. Humans have God inside and the free will given to them. They have to choose. That's why this world has two paths, one positive. You have to choose if you want to be greater beings in the whole universe and in heavens, and that you will have power later on to help others, not just be simple heavenly beings, but you also have more power in order to help others who need it. Lower level people or animal people, for example. In our world, there are many animal people also from heaven. They came down to help humans in their different ways. Even dog, cat, fish, like giant fish and other giant animal people. Some are not all that good because that is their job. And even if you say the whale people eat many small fish and other small sea creatures, they have to balance this world because some of the small creatures in the sea are negative. They are zombies and being driven by the devils to do harm, to give bad energies into this world. So the whale people, even if they eat these small creatures, they are helping us. We must open our third eye, the heavenly eyes and the heavenly ears, in order to know what is right, what is wrong. The surface, the appearance, cannot tell us the whole truth behind it. And only enlightened people, we know these truths. And to be enlightened, truly, you have to find an enlightened master to impart this, to transfer this power to you. By God's grace, of course. Without God, we are nothing. Without master, I tell you truly now, like it or not, without a master, enlightened master, you never get out of this circle of life and death. Even if you say, okay, I can wait, you think you can wait until trillions, zillions of years when you go through all the suffering or happiness, then you wake up, you become enlightened, and then you go home. No. Even then, at that time, you still need a master to take you home. It is like that. It's the rule like that. There's nothing I can do about it. So don't keep pressuring me to change this world into a paradise. It doesn't work that way. Once you are here, you are here. You are a physical being. And you have to fend for yourself. And if you really want to go home, you must find a master, okay? But there's one good thing about Buddha, Jesus Christ, and other saints like Guru Nanak, Lord Mahavira, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Prophet Baha'u'llah, and Lord Krishna, etc. Oh, so endless masters. You can't even remember all, and you can't even know all of them. There's one good thing about them, because we say that, like, okay, I forgot this. I mentioned it before, and then I went to some other things, and I forgot. Now we go back to Christ and Buddha, for example. They call them world saviors. But we see physically they had only some, maybe thousands of disciples at that time. And why do we call them world saviors? That is the physical appearance, that Christ only had some thousands of followers, or maybe much more or not. Or Buddha had also some tens of thousands of followers or disciples at that time. But while they are in the world, they elevate souls, who are nearer to enlightenment status, nearer to liberation status. They elevate them quietly. So these souls will also be enlightened secretly, and then they will go home. The Buddha will take them home. And almost the whole world population will be blessed by the power of Christ, Buddhas, and maybe other masters. All the masters, real masters, they will bless humanity at large by their own power. Even if those persons don't know them, they will still take the whole world up in their generation, of course, during their time. Not all, of course, not all. Some are so wicked, some are devils, so they have to have punishment by the law of the physical. But those who are good and virtuous, even though they didn't know Christ existed at that time, they didn't know about Buddhas or anything, they still be blessed. Because if a Buddha or Christ is in the world, their power encompasses everywhere. They don't touch the law of karma. They don't intervene with the human nature of free will, like they want to do this, they want to do that. Well, whoever has no such contradiction to goodness and peace and God's commandments, then the Buddha, Christ, masters can lift them all up to a higher heaven and teach them from there upwards. You see, like some humans who cannot go further than astral level, the astral heavens, Buddha will be there, manifested. The Buddha doesn't have only one body. Even in the physical world, Christ, Buddhas, other masters, they have many, many countless manifested light bodies. I mean, they can appear anywhere to help those who need, even though that person doesn't see him. Thus, already enlighten them to some degree. And then when that person dies, the Buddha's physical presence with tremendous power can bring that person to whatever level he deserves. Even on the astral level, the Buddha will be there too and teach that person until he goes up to a higher level, to Buddha's land, for example, like that. So that's why we call them world saviors. So Christ doesn't just die for his handful of disciples, or however many disciples the Lord had at that time. Or Buddha doesn't die and then goes away and only rescues his thousands of followers and disciples. No. He has more than that to do. The whole world in his lifetime will be helped, will be enlightened, will be liberated by him. And after that, for some more generations, like as I told you, 200 years or maybe a little bit more, 300 years, depends on the power of that master. Then those generations will be helped also because Buddha's power is still left on earth after his nirvana. You see what I'm saying? That's why these masters, they are enormous. We can never thank them enough. If we kneel on our knees the whole lifetime, many lifetimes, to thank them, we praise to them, we can never repay their kindness. I am grateful all the time. Thank you, all the masters. And of course, I thank God Almighty for giving us these masters who come life after life, reminding us of God's teachings, bringing us blessings and power to uplift our souls and liberate us. We should always remember to thank them in the grace of God. There's any planet, any world at all, if they have any master at all, that planet, that world is so fortunate. Only in hell it's very difficult to rescue, but some masters still can. And even a master like Chitikaba, the Earth Store Bodhisattva, is still in hell, helping people, teaching them so that they can at least remember God, whoever he can. Some have too heavy karma, he cannot, but whoever he can, he tries to remind them, and then they will be free from hell. After graduation, of course, yes. Okay, now I do hope you understand that the masters do not come just to hula hoop and change everything, because that has to depend on the human's maturity, spiritual maturity, and that you have to respect. If we have been talking about this liberation and God's power and God's way of life and God's path to heavens all these decades, and some don't listen, then they just don't listen, okay? Their time is not mature yet. There was a joke before I told you, but I tell you again. One guy used to have, an addiction to gambling. Yeah, he gambled every day. One of his friends, his so-called acquaintance, before this friend was enlightened, was with him. And then somehow he became enlightened, met a master, so he saw his friend is still engulfed in this kind of gambling atmosphere and addicted, loses everything and suffers so much, he still likes to be there. So he tried to take him to heaven by his own power, brought him to heaven to show him how heaven is beautiful and good and all that. And that friend, the ignoramus friend, asked him, is there any gambling area here? And the friend said, of course not, this is heaven. You should know this is beautiful and better for you. Don't go gamble anymore. Just follow my master and then you'll be liberated. He said, no, I want to gamble. If heaven doesn't have it, I don't want to stay here. See that? So it could be a joke, but it is also a reality with many people. And you can't change it. You don't want to. Just let them wake up by themselves someday. If they want to wake up long after trillions of years, then that's their choice. If they want to go home now, wake up now, get enlightenment now, and go back to God now, then we can help them immediately. They can see God right away. As you have seen, you know that. But if they don't want to, you can't force them, okay? Just like doctors in the hospital. They would love to save all their patients and make them well. But if one person doesn't want it, doesn't sign the agreement, then the doctor cannot give him, the operation or special treatment. Unless maybe that person is already unconscious, soon out, and maybe one of his family members can sign that the doctor is allowed to perform immediate surgery or some very special and maybe doubtful treatment to help that patient, then the doctor can. So it's just like the humans. They don't want to go back home until they are beaten black and blue, life after life, and could bear no more. Then they will ask to go home. Then we'll be ready, standing by anytime, okay? So please, do not force me, do not keep nagging me for that. I want nothing more than what you want. But it's not the nature of the universe this way. Please just pray for them, pray for the world, so that they wake up. Ask for forgiveness and ask for liberation, them very selves. We can't do much but cry. Just like all heavens cry, witnessing myself suffer. but they can't help much because I want to show the humans' pain to lessen their karmic debt. It's my wish to elevate earth beings through this way. They are not allowed to go against my will. Those sympathetic heavens.
Hôm đó con ngồi thiền, con đi vào từ trường của sư phụ. Con ngồi thiền, con từ bên trên vũ trụ trên cao ấy, con nhìn xuống. Sư phụ cả một cái pháp tướng rất là lớn bao bọc cả một cái địa cầu. Sư phụ cả một pháp tướng đấy lớn rộng mà nó chỉ là ánh sáng thôi, sư phụ. Ánh sáng lớn bao toàn hết cả cái địa cầu. Xong rồi một cái thân thể lớn, sư phụ làm ra như một cái thân thể thật là vĩ đại. Rồi chúng sinh thì bao trùm hết ở thân thể của sư phụ. Bàn tay to lớn của sư phụ ôm tất cả những cái chúng sinh đấy vào lòng. Rồi âu yếm. Lúc đấy âu yếm xong rồi cả cái thân thể ánh sáng của sư phụ dần dần ấy tan chảy vào chúng sinh. Lúc đấy cái con nhìn thấy cái sự hy sinh vĩ đại của sư phụ. Tất cả mọi cái nó là một thứ lực lượng sư phụ mà chỉ ở trong cái đó mới có thể nghĩa là mới thể cảm nhận được, chứ cái lực lượng này không thể nào diễn tả được bằng lời. Một cái sự vĩ đại mà cả cái vũ trụ ở trên cao, rất là nhiều chúng sinh, cả vũ trụ họ đều biết cái sự vĩ đại của sư phụ. Nhưng mà chỉ có cái con người ở địa cầu, họ không một ai hiểu, không một ai biết được. Lúc đó khi mà con thấy như vậy, con bật khóc. Bởi vì là vũ trụ trên cao họ rất là thương xót sư phụ, họ nhìn xuống nhưng mà họ không còn cách nào ngăn cản được sư phụ. Bởi vì cái sự hy sinh này là sư phụ, là sự lựa chọn của sư phụ, cho nên không ai ngăn cản được. Xong rồi con nhìn sâu vào trong đôi mắt của sư phụ thì con nhìn thấy trong đôi mắt của sư phụ lúc đấy chỉ có chúng sinh, ngoài chúng sinh ra không có chỉ có chúng sinh thôi. Xong rồi một cái gì đấy, tất cả đều là lực lượng sư phụ, phải ở trong cái lực lượng đấy thì mới biết được, chứ không phải con nói như này nó chỉ là một tí. Yes. Nó không thể diễn đạt được, mấy lại con cũng không biết thế nào để diễn đạt nó. Trong đôi mắt của sư phụ có một cái sự gì đó rất là mong mỏi ở chúng sinh, một sự mong mỏi ở chúng sinh biến đổi, một cái gì đó rất là thương yêu vô bờ bến, rồi một cái gì đó rất là muốn biến đổi, rồi một cái gì đó thật là đau khổ. Tất cả mọi thứ cảm giác của sư phụ nó là một cái, vâng, ở trong một cái từ trường, một cái tầng chấn động lực của sư phụ. Lúc đấy con mới sợ, con mới bật khóc, bởi vì chúng sinh ở địa cầu, tình thương của họ chỉ giống như một hạt bụi trong vũ trụ, một hạt bụi họ mà không hiểu một cái gì cả. Cho nên con muốn nói với các đồng tu rằng là mình có được sư phụ thật sự là một phước báu mà không thể nào mà có được, chỉ trừ phi mình tìm được thật sự, mình nhìn thấy, mình vào trong cái từ trường và cảm nhận được cái điều đó. Còn nếu không thì
chỉ nói thôi.
Dạ. Thì cái sự phước báu của mình có được sư phụ ngày hôm nay thật ra là đã con không biết dùng từ.
I sometimes also was angry like you are now. Also kind of very demanding God to change it, to change this world. But I guess they want to go through some suffering in order to know what it is like to suffer, so that they can help the suffering people, suffering beings later on in maybe 100 years, 1,000 years, a million years, when they become enlightened and have the power to help. Do you understand now? Because if you're rich, you're born into richness all your life. You never even pass by any poor area that has some homeless people or poor people. You would never know what poor means, and you would never have sympathy, love, or compassion, or want to help those poor people at all. Okay? So now, if they don't want to go home yet, then we just let it be. They have God within their souls, within themselves. They must know what they want. We just feel sad, sorry, but stand by. Okay, all right. If I remember any other things, then I probably will tell you next time. Because if I'm going to send this to my team, they will be working all day, all night to make it come out fast to you on remastered television. And if it's too long, then they will work too hard. Every day they work very hard already, and every time there is a new talk from me, they work even harder, extra harder. And I also. Later when they send it back, I have to check whether or not everything written down is correct or not. Okay, so long for now. All my love, those who follow me or do not follow me, those who love me or those who don't love me, those who support me as well as those who oppose me and are jealous of me. I wish all of you God's love, God's blessing, and quick enlightenment. Amen. Thank you, God, for speaking through me, for allowing me to talk to you this way, for inspiring me to remind you of your noble purpose. Please remember, pray to God, praise God, worship God. Thank God all the time. Anytime you remember, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 1 second, do that, okay? And maybe you will be helped more than you can even imagine. And maybe that's the only weapon you have. If you don't have any master at all, maybe this will bless you to have a better status in this life and the next. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me live still. I thank God for protecting me. Please thank God for me also. Thanks all the saints and sages and all the angels, divas who try so hard to protect me as much as they can. And thank you, all of them, whoever protects humanity and all beings on this planet as much as they can. May God bless you all. Love you. Love you all.